Hello everybody. Today I just got excited because I was doing pickleball, but I read episode 3 trailer. 8-9 seconds, okay. Okay, ooh, black, wait. Hold on. Okay, ooh. Wait, hold on. So this is the okay, this is not that. Okay, so first seeing the height and then what is this? I'm fishing this part. Okay, I don't know what this is. Zigzag. Oh, and they're fighting in a place. I don't know. Oh, yeah, it looks like he's getting squished. Looks like they're on the ground. Oh, yeah, Titan with the white shooting. I'm going to zoom into where black is. And now they're fighting. We're fighting. Oh, no swords. Look, oh, that last frame right there. I'm guessing that's like them fight. Okay, see a Titan face up here. Okay, we got some more stuff to do. I'm not on green screen, so you see the noise. I'm just not uploading here.
Dinky, 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 Dinky.
April 25th. April 25th. There's no shit. Wait, today. Was she,
Rufus Car Insurance made easy. Customize your coverage with the...
Okay. Important.
This is why you should always change your locks. In 2017, a college girl woke up from a nightmare drenched in sweat and decided to rinse off before going back to sleep. She propped her phone on a shelf, turned on some music, and then hopped in the shower. A few minutes later, she reaches for her phone to change the song, but stops suddenly. Reflected on her phone's screen was a person standing in the middle of her bathroom facing the shower. She somehow kept her composure, turned the water to scalding hot, and then ripped open the curtain and sprayed the intruder in the face. As they howled in pain, she ran past them to her kitchen to get her butcher's knife. In a panic, she can't find her knife, so she just runs out of the apartment and calls the police. The police go in and come out with a crazy-looking woman in handcuffs. One of the officers comes over to the girl and says, "She used to live here and she had copies of your keys." Then he pauses and looks down and brings up a clear evidence bag that contained her butcher's knife, and he says, "Looks like she wanted her apartment back. This is why you should..."
Scariest things hidden in normal photos.
It's just a cigarette, and it cannot be that bad.
Honey, don't you love me, and you know it makes me sad.
It's just a cigarette, like you always used to do.
I was different then, I don't need them to be cool.
Scariest thing.
This is why you should never go to sleep with high socks on.
Why not?
So there was this kid who had gym class every day, and every week, to make sure that all the kids in gym class could run, the teacher would give each kid a new pair of high socks every week. But because they lived in a cold area, the kid would actually use these high socks to sleep in to keep him warm. But when he woke up, he noticed that there was a really weird pattern left on his legs because the socks were so tight, but he didn't think anything of it. So the next day he woke up and there was still the same pattern that was on his leg as the day before. So this time he decided to take a picture of it and show his friend, but his friend said that he's actually seen that pattern before.
How has the friend seen it before?
So the friend actually remembered that another student had the same exact problem that the kid was having. So they both went around the school trying to ask people if they had any answers about the pattern, and nobody knew anything. But for another week, the kid just kept waking up with these patterns on his leg, and nobody knew what was going on. But then one day the kid didn't show up to school, and then the next day he didn't show up, and the next day after that, and then even his parents didn't know where he went, so they reported him missing, and they said all they found on his bed was... This is why you should never go to sleep with high socks on.
Why not?
So there was this kid who had...
Scariest things hidden in normal photos.
Anyway,
It's just a cigarette and it cannot be that bad.
okay, this is actually what it is. So this the pig we're seeing right now is not fake. Is not real. He is a faker, and he got COVID, and he was about to die without family. So we're down on to keep going and going and feeding. The dad got tight and locked him in the basement. Yeah, and now this day, the big Peppa Pig is out there, and the real one stuck in there.
It's just a cigarette like you always used to do.
Okay. Whoa. What's that? You're
Scariest things hidden. Daisy.
Give me your hands and do.
I'm half crazy.
All for the love of you.
Daisy. Scary things hidden in photos.
Scary things hidden in photos? Let's see this. A regular picture. Wait, is that the guy from Fortnite? What? Her reflection. Holy crap, what? I swear I've seen that guy before somewhere though. Alright, whatever. A normal foggy bridge. Okay.
Scary things hidden in photos.
I heard my son laughing in his room, but when I went to check on him, he was fast asleep. As I left the room, I heard the laughter continue. I heard my son laughing in his room.
Scary recordings found on dark web.
By the garden of the willow tree and
Oh, I seen this. That's what I said,
Scary recordings found.
I told my son to watch this video.
Okay. See nothing.
Scary recordings.
I told my son to watch this video.
It disappeared.
I told my son to watch this video.
That's scary.
This thing is so weird.
Understand me? That's how like a stop.
What? This thing is so weird.
Wow.
Mysterious creatures filmed in different states. In Ohio.
Ohio? Everything is in Ohio.
Mysterious creatures filmed in different states. In Ohio.
That Yeti's like, I think it's like a deer or a bear. Look, he's
In Utah.
Okay, I did it.
This is why parents should believe their kids. In 2010, a 15-year-old boy started to notice that the door to his attic, which was in his bedroom, was always open. One day, when his mom's giving him a hard time about being lazy, he's like, well, you're one to talk. You always leave my attic door open. She's like, I haven't touched your attic door in months, and nobody else has either. Not easily frightened, the boy decides to leave the attic door open. And so he's laying in bed, and he kind of looks over at the door, and standing in the door frame is a figure staring right at him. He bolts, tells his parents, they don't believe him, and then 6 months later they move anyway. A few years later, the boy discovers his favorite teacher actually moved into his old house. And so he jokingly asks her, you ever see any ghosts walking around your attic? Her face got completely serious, and she's like, you know, as soon as we moved in, the door to the attic kept opening. So we investigated, and we found a trap door that led onto the roof. Someone had been crawling in through that entrance and living in the attic for years. This is why parents should...
The darkest video on the internet. These girls were in a carnival game.
Oh, I see this.
The strange thing is that there were only 3. Although for people appear in the video. Wait. The girl in the back never existed. The darkest video on the internet.
Yo, I'm like, it's so beautiful. Listen to this. Jack, spy away. I'm scared of spiders. So much is scared of spiders. So this is why I don't like it. I bet it's gonna do a jump scare, is it? Gonna do a jump scare? Jump scare? Is it gonna do a jump scare?
Here are some of the scariest things hidden in photos. This girl was taking a photo for Instagram, but when she looked at the photo after, she noticed a tall man in the background. Here are 3 friends posing for a photo, but if you look in between these 2 girls, there's a face in the middle. Now, this looks like a normal picture of a living room, but if you look closely, there's a creepy face. This girl was taking a selfie without even realizing there was a creepy face in her mirror. Now, this looks like a normal photo from the olden days, but if you look to the left-hand side, you can see a face appearing out of the doorway. These 2 girls were posing for a photo, but who's holding her shoulder? Here are some of the scariest things.
In this scary video, a couple of kids are playing and having fun until this shocking event. If your kid has an imagination. In this scary video, a couple of kids are playing and having fun until this shocking event happens. Watch this.
No, guys. But why are they doing it dark? That's scary what I seen. Oh, she got a demon.
In this scary video,
if your kid has an imaginary friend, very careful. Here's why. A mother and her daughter are home alone one night when she begins to hear her daughter talking to someone inside her room.
Lily, come here. Lily, who are you playing with? What are you doing?
As the little girl comes out of her room, you see a dark figure of a taller person walking by. Due to the figure walking by the door, the mother believes this isn't her daughter's shadow, but something else attached to her daughter. If your kid has an imaginary...
A family in Houston, Texas can't seem to get rid of this haunted Elsa doll. They bought the doll around Christmas of 2013. The doll recited phrases from the song Let It Go when you press the button in its necklace. And for 2 years it worked just fine. In 2015 it started alternating between English and Spanish, which it hadn't done before. But that's not the most bizarre part. The family owned the doll for about 6 years. During that time they never had to change the batteries. The doll would randomly begin turning on by itself without having its button touched, even singing when it switched off. The family decided to throw the doll away in 2019. Weeks later, they found it inside of a bench in their living room. The family then decided to double bag the doll, placing it at the bottom of their trash can and taking it out on garbage day. They went on a trip shortly after, and upon returning home, they found the doll in their backyard. The doll has since been mailed to a friend, and he taped it to the bumper of his car. And thankfully, it hasn't made its way back to Houston yet. A family in Houston, Texas can't seem to get...
This is why you should never watch my videos before going to bed. In 1986, a young girl opens her closet to find a man wearing a dress and holding an axe. He grabs her and ties her up, and then walks around the house and does the same thing to the rest of her family. While the guy is ransacking their house, one of the kids breaks free, runs next door, and tells his neighbor. The neighbor calls the cops show up, the family's saved, but the guy is nowhere to be found. The family leaves the house and stays with relatives in hopes that they'll catch this guy before they have to go back. But after a few weeks, they haven't caught him, there aren't any leads, and they say, you know what, we'll go back to our house anyways. As the family's pulling back into their driveway, the father looks up at one of the windows and sees for a split second the head of the man with the dress in their bedroom. They call the police, who go in and find pennies glued to the ceiling and weird writing all over the house, but they can't find this crazy guy. Until one of the officers found a secret crawl space in the basement, where psychotic killer Danny LaPlante had been living for 2 months. This is why you should
It took me years to realize Pixar is connected to a famous horror movie. In Coco, you can see a painting of the twins from The Shining.
Hey, sorry, I got
Painting of the twins from The Shining. Sid's house has also the same pattern rug as the Overlook Hotel. Also, check this out. A license plate in Toy Story 3 refers to room 237 from the movie. But wait for the best part. Again in Coco, you can spot a red drum. So what's the link between The Shining and Pixar? It took me years to realize Pixar is...
These are the top 4 creepiest things ever found in people's houses, part 3. This is terrifying.
And sing this little song. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run. Run, rabbit, run, rabbit, run, run, run.
By the garden of the willow tree and with me.
These are the top 4 creep. If you ever see a Furby in a random spot, you should never pick it up.
Like the toy Furby?
Yeah, so there's a legend that you should never pick up an abandoned Furby because one day 2 kids found a Furby in the woods outside their grandparents' house and it was super dirty and super beat up, so they decided to take it home and clean it. But after cleaning it, they noticed it had red eyes, which was super unusual, so they decided to put batteries in it. And once they put batteries in it, it started speaking like how a Furby does. Like, you don't really know what it's saying.
Right, it always used to make some kind of weird sound.
Yeah, but right after this, it then started to speak English, and it was only repeating the phrase, "Put me back."
What?
Yeah, then the grandma came into the room and asked them where they got the Furby, and when she found out it was from the woods, she took it and ran it back out into the woods, and she told the kids that if you ever see a Furby in a
What would you do if this happened to you? Cecilia was the mother of a young boy named Jack. He was 8 years old but didn't say his first words until he was 7. He would often just stare at corners of the room, ignoring...
If you're alone right now, don't watch this video. In 1999, a man was hunting up in the mountains when all of a sudden a huge blizzard came out of nowhere. He didn't have time to make it back to his camp, so instead he took refuge in a nearby cabin. He knocked on the door and heard footsteps coming from the inside, but nobody answered. He knocked again, and that's when the door slowly opened and a man's voice said, "Come inside and lay on the couch." He walked in and thanked the man, but he wasn't saying anything. He didn't think anything of it, so he just lied down on the couch. He shut his eyes, but the man wasn't leaving. He was just watching him. He started getting creeped out, but that's when the man started walking closer. He didn't think twice to jump out of the couch and run as fast as he could out of the cabin. What happens next is truly terrifying, like for part 2.
Look at this photo very carefully.
If you flip it.
Look at this photo very carefully.
Oh, the eyes are getting bigger. It's moving.
Look at this photo very carefully.
We wanted to get rid of our alien statue by gifting it to our friend Jordan Matter, but he politely turned it down.
I don't think I'll be taking it with me.
Later that evening, I couldn't stop thinking about the weird writings on our door.
What if I put it in like reverse image search?
After narrowing down our investigation, we were able to translate the writings and strange things started to happen around the house. Marco thought he was getting closer to an answer when this happened.
I'm scared, Mom.
Click the play button to watch the full video. We wanted to get rid of our alien statue. We wanted to get rid of our...
She was inspecting an abandoned property, and she finds a property inspector by the name Brooklyn was checking up on a house that had been recently vacated, when suddenly, while making her way towards the basement, this happens.
Anyway, yeah, bye bye.